topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to the 16th year of Ask the Experts, where we bring you the finest experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Hey, I've got a great show for you today. First of all, we're doing this show nationally. We only do several shows on a national basis. This is one of them. This is our long-running, I believe it's 14 years now we've been doing this show. I love doing this show because I know how important when you have a tax problem and the IRS is coming after you. I know what a burden that is on you, and it hurts so many things in your life. We have a company, Taxation Solutions Inc., that can help you with those problems today, and why this show is so important. I so trust this company. We've been working together for a long time, and we start promoting this show about 2 days out, and we have gotten so many questions. Let me introduce you to our superstar, Barry Fowler.
Hey, Steve, man, it's a great day to be here on a Friday. You know, we should be doing this like at the end of next week, and then we can really make it scary, you know. But we always have fun here. We try to make it as easy for people to learn and be able to fight the IRS, whether it's with us or on their own, or sometimes being scared and going to somebody else, and you should be scared sometimes with that too. Who knows?
Barry, we are always getting new listeners. In fact, some of the letters I'm going to read on air today show that. Tell people about Taxation Solutions Inc., your baby.
My baby. It's bigger than a baby these days. You know, it's been around since 2008. So, you know, we're getting close to 20 years of this, but I've been in the business fighting the IRS since I was knee high to a grasshopper. But, you know, ever since I started doing taxes, I always represented clients either for audits or IRS problems, owing money, whatever. And then we decided that we needed a company to come out and do this. And we started Taxation Solutions. And, you know, we have grown just from being a Houston area company to nationwide company. We've got clients in every single state in the U.S. And, you know, we help people be able to sleep at night is really the easiest way of putting it. You know, we resolve their tax problems, but we're actually do more than that. You know, we give people their life back. You know, we take the burden of dealing with the IRS off their shoulders onto ours, and we then fight the IRS on their behalf. We basically step into your shoes so you don't ever have to deal with the IRS. If they come a knocking or they end up calling you or something else, you end up sending them right back to us. They shouldn't be doing that once our power of attorney is there. And so taking that burden off of somebody right there is immediate. I mean, immediate relief from having to not deal or worry about the IRS. And, you know, once you sign with a client, as a client of ours, we're on the phone either that day or the next day. As soon as we get a power of attorney, already working for you right out of the gate to prevent, liens, levies, wage garnishments from happening against you as soon as we have that power of attorney in our hands to be able to do that.
Yeah, I got to tell you, just the fact, Barry, that they don't have to talk to the IRS anymore. And for those of you who don't understand what that means, many of you who talk to the IRS really dig a hole deeper for yourself, don't they, Barry?
Oh, absolutely. The questions they ask seem relatively innocent, and they're really creating that roadmap to everything you have, to every way that they can collect money from you. And so, when they're asking you, the answers. When they ask us, even if we know the answers, we can defer. Even if the answer to that question is that, yes, you've got money sitting in the bank account, we've got to check. There's little ways we can go around that and then buy time to figure out what's going to be the best course of action for you and the best solution. Because, you talk to some of these other people and you hear these wonderful ads on this radio station and they go, hey, we're going to settle you for, far less than what you owe, pennies on the dollar. Whatever term they want to use to say they're going to settle this, not everybody qualifies, even though when you call them, everybody qualifies. And even me, I've had people call me and solicit me over tax debt that I don't have. And I make up numbers because I love playing with people like that. And I know I don't have any tax debt. I know what my record has. And I'll make things up and they'll tell me I can settle. And then I'll go, really? How can I settle if I got this, and this that I just told you I had? Oh, don't worry about it. We get everybody settled. 100%? Yeah, possibly. There's that word, possibly, maybe, potentially.
Yeah.
Those little words that you don't hear, you just hear what you want to hear, and that is that they're going to settle. And then I tell them I'm an enrolled agent, and they hang up the phone because they know they're lying. So you kind of got to watch who you're calling and what you're doing. Here, we're going to walk you through it. We're going to be completely honest. We're going to ask you leading questions. We're going to find out what you have, what we need to do. We're going to want to go and do a complete tax analysis behind you. That means find out everything the IRS has on you, what the record is, and exactly what we need to be doing. One, to get you into compliance if you're not in compliance. Two, what your tax debt is. Three, when the statute of limitations are going to run out. And four, what do you have so that you can put together the best package and the best solution within our arsenal that we can get you.
Barry, I think about when you just brought up now about these national commercials. First of all, use a little logic. Everybody's situation is different. They kind of paint a broad brush. They can help anybody. And I got to tell you what I love about Taxation Solutions. These other companies are mostly telling you what you want to hear to get you to sign up. But I've learned over the years with Taxation Solutions that you're going to be honest with them. If you can't help them, you're going to tell them. And people don't understand when they see these commercials, Barry, that everybody's case is different.
Oh, absolutely. I actually had a client that went off on me. Well, I actually wasn't a client. It was a prospect that went off on me just the other day. And, they called me and they were talking to my staff and I said, hey, I'll take the call. They sound really distraught and really going to be a problem. Let me talk to this lady. And I'm talking to the lady and I find out, they owed about $120,000 to the IRS. And they had close to $500,000 in equity in their house. They had $250,000 sitting in a 401k. And they called a national firm, and they told them they could get an offer in compromise and settle it for far less. And I said, well, did they give you an amount? She goes, yeah, somewhere around $10,000 or less. I said, oh, okay. And let's back up. You know, how old are you? She was probably about 54. And I'm like, okay, you don't qualify. In any way, shape, or form, do you qualify to settle this with the IRS? You have the wherewithal to be able to pay this, according to the IRS, between your equity, your 401k, cash that's in the bank, all this. I've been called many words in my life, some that she used that I couldn't repeat on this family show here. But I'm just like, ma'am, I am so sorry. But, sometimes the truth really does hurt. But what you really need is a payment plan. And you really need to do these couple things, whether you do them with us or somebody else. This is what you should do. And she's like, I'm going with them. And a few more choice words at me and slam the phone down. I'm like, hey,
Wow.
There are some people you can't help. There are some people that are looking for that pipe dream that, hey, just because somebody says maybe you can qualify or potentially you qualify, you didn't hear that. You heard that you could. And then you jump over there and you go do it. And then you realize you're going to realize at some point they were totally wrong. They totally misled you. And realistically, they're going to tell you, well, you just didn't hear everything we were saying and it's your own fault. And you just paid us 15 or 20 grand. In this case, the company was charging her close to 20 grand to do this.
Wow.
So 20 grand. And I told her, I said, look, we're going to be able to go in and do an installment agreement for you. We're going to be much cheaper. Here's your realistic fees. And she's like, nope, I'd rather go there. Hey, there are some people I think my dad used to say best, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Yeah.
You can lead a potential client to reality, but you can't make them see it. And that's sometimes the hard part. And sometimes you got to put reality to it. If you've got money, whether it's equity in your house, money in your retirement accounts, money in the bank, money under the mattress, if the IRS knows about any of that stuff, which they will find out about everything, sometimes even including the money under the mattress, they're going to expect you to pay it. And you're going to have to man up and deal with the tax problem the right way.
Barry, how many of those people who walk away and then discover you are telling them the truth who come back to you? I know you have to get some of those.
We do get some of them. I think most people are kind of embarrassed.
Yeah.
I had a gentleman come back to us. They went to national firm and started paying. And to be honest, he was on a $15,000 contract with them. And basically, as he was starting to go through it, they started asking for more and more money over and above the contract amount. And, come to find out, they weren't really going to go after an offer in compromise. They came back to him and said, all we're going to do is an installment agreement. Well, he was on the course to spend a god-awful amount of money for an installment agreement. And not to say there aren't some installment agreements that you've got to charge quite a bit because it's a lot more work. I mean, if you owe $1 million, $2 million, payroll tax, there are certain things that have extenuating circumstances. In him, he owed $250,000. It was going to be full financial and installment agreement, but it shouldn't have been anywhere near that high of a cost. He actually signed with us for far less than what he was going to be paying for them. And I think it's closer to 1/5 of what he was paying them to going to end up do the same thing. We're going to be realistic about what services we're going to provide, and we're going to get this stuff done and get it out of here. A lot of our clients come as well from referrals. I do very little advertising. We put a little bit of information up on Facebook for Taxation Solutions Tax Relief, and Instagram and some of the other places out there, but I don't spend a bunch of money doing, broad-based national TV and radio advertising, because I believe in helping the people and putting the money back into them and not into all of our advertising costs. We do this with Ask the Experts because, one, we get a national audience. We get to help people. We get to talk about not just what we can do, but what people can do to resolve those problems. And so even if they don't use us, and if they listen to the show, they can walk away a little bit smarter, have a little bit of intelligence, and then put some realization and realistic attitude when they go to deal with somebody on their IRS resolution. If they're hiring a company to do it, are they really getting the service that they need? And if you're any doubt about who you're going with, or before you sign with anybody else, give us a call. 877-996-6477. Again, 877-996-6477, or go to taxationsolutions.net. And again, it's taxationsolutions.net. And you can see our information out there. You can even get to our playbook. You can contact us and we'll call you back. We'll give you a free consultation. Let's talk about the tax problem and talk about what we can do and what we need to do to get you to go and move forward and do it in the best way possible.
Hey, Barry, with the shutdown, has that affected your business at all? Basically trying to get a hold of the IRS?
Well, it kind of getting scary these days because I can get a hold of the IRS a little bit quicker than I used to. I think, there are people working, but I've got a priority line. So I think the people running on that priority line are there working to help resolve tax issues. The scary part is if you're calling the IRS and expecting to resolve your own tax issue right now, you may be on the hold a lot longer. You may get a lot more interruptions, and it's going to be a lot harder for the ordinary taxpayer to get a hold put in place to stop collection activities. And what's going to be really scary is these computer systems, they don't unplug them because of the shutdown. They keep spitting out letters. They keep spitting out the final notice of intent to levy. And there's going to be some revenue officers and other agents that are signing off on levying your bank account, potentially going after wage garnishments. And then you try to stop it. Sometimes we wish you the best of luck. It can be really scary what's going to happen. And what's going to happen when they do come back, we don't know either.
Barry, I got to share a letter that we got. It was really, you never know who's listening or watching the show, but this guy has been watching your shows for the last 5 months, and he has not filed for taxes. I think he said 3 years, and he just has been putting it off. And he said by listening to your show, it has motivated him to finally do something. And he's going to be contacting your office. He's from Albuquerque, New Mexico. But, I want to bring this up, and we haven't used this phrase for a while, Barry, but there's a lot of people out there that are embarrassed of the position that they're in. And I got to tell you, I love your phrase, you're in the no judgment zone when you come to Taxation Solutions. And it was really a heartfelt letter, which I'm going to send you a copy, but it's really true. You just never know who's listening out there and why they haven't done anything about their taxes, because you're right. They never are going to go away.
No, they're not. As a matter of fact, the IRS is eventually going to do an SFR, substitute for a return, and file it on your behalf. Now, when they do that, as you and I have talked about, they don't do it with every deduction. They don't do it to your benefit. They do it straight to the IRS's benefit. If you got a 1099 for $100,000, let's say, that goes straight on Schedule C, straight Social Security and Medicare tax, $15,300 some odd dollars on that. Then your federal income tax. They don't give you your kids. They don't give you deductions. They don't give you tax credits. And now you owe a bunch more money than you should, and you got to fix that. So, don't linger behind it. Steve, you're right. We have an absolute no judgment zone. The history behind that came probably about 12 years ago, or maybe 14 years ago, is I was on the radio with a wonderful young lady on WSM radio out of Nashville. And we were helping a lot of truckers at that time, as we do currently today. And we were on in the middle of the night on her show, and she goes, really sounds to me like you have no judgment zone there at Taxation Solutions. And I went, bingo, you're absolutely right. Marcia, can I use that from now on? She went, yep. I said, I really love it. So sometimes the best ideas come from other people. And, so we always call it the no judgment zone. We don't pass judgment on you. We're here to help. We have the empathy and sympathy for what you're going through. We've seen it. Every now and then I get hit with something different that I go, wow, never heard that one before. But that doesn't happen too often anymore. People have all kinds of reasons for either not filing or being in this tax debt. And a lot of times those reasons are really simple. You started out in business doing consulting, doing trucking as an owner operator, in any kind of business out there that you're running, but you never thought of hiring a tax guy to be your consultant, to be your go-to, to have somebody that tells you, you got to make estimated tax payments or do bookkeeping so that you know where your company is at. And then you get to filing that tax return for the first year, and you just realized nobody was paying Social Security and Medicare. That's the self-employment tax, 15.3%, so Social Security and Medicare. And then you've also got to pay federal income tax. Oh my God, I didn't realize all this stuff. Because it's simple. When you're a W-2 employee, the only time you notice taxes is when you start your first job. Right. And you go, what is this they're taking out? I thought I was making $20 an hour. I should have gotten a check for $800. Well, then they took out Social Security, your half, Medicare, your half, federal withholdings, your half, state income tax, your portion. And now you're left with a $600 check. That was kind of like my daughter's attitude when she got her first paycheck when she was working her job. Dad, I know you do taxes, but this is ridiculous. That's the way it is. So now when you're self-employed, nobody's doing that for you. You got to make the estimated tax payments. You got to know how much money you're making. And if you didn't hire that consultant to begin with or a tax guy to help you, you had no knowledge. Now you go to file that first return and your taxes is $20,000 and you don't have it. So what's the first thing you do? Shut the computer down, turn it off. Nobody knows.
Right.
And now, hey, I didn't file that return. I didn't send it in. And, the next year comes and you look at it and you go, well, I did last year. They didn't bug me about it. I'm not filing this year. And then the third year comes. Well, the last 2 years, they didn't bother me about it. So I'm not going to file this year. And all of a sudden the fourth year comes and now you're getting nasty letters and SFRs. And now you owe a whole bunch more money than you should have. And so, you guys got to man up at that point and deal with the problem and get it over with. And we're not passing judgment on that. We're trying to help you. We want to make it better. We want to find those deductions and get that down as low as possible. And then settle the debt with the IRS or do an installment agreement with the debt on the IRS, maybe remove penalties. If we got good reasons, we are really good at removing penalties as well. but you got to have a very good reason to be able to do it. And we work with you on that to be able to get those things so that you can have that relief that you need and you deserve.
Barry, you have your own show on Mondays. Tell people about your show.
I do. Man, we're going to run a special show this Monday. It's going to be scary. I promise.
Ooh.
All right.
What is the title?
IRS is scary. So it's Tax Talk for You. All you got to do is go Tax Talk, the number 4, the letter U.com. You can follow us over there. You can follow us on Facebook, and join the show on Monday. Now, we are running a show about how scary the IRS is. It's kind of going to be a little bit tongue in cheek and a little bit of fun, but it's going to be in all seriousness. We're going to be talking about the IRS and what they do for collections, their letters, you name it, the things that happen there that, hey, maybe you should be a little bit scared of, but if you have taxation solutions on your side, you don't have to be scared of it at all. So join us on Tax Talk for You. It's Mondays, 10 a.m. Eastern on W4CY radio online. But again, the easiest way is to go follow us on Facebook and go to Taxation Solutions Facebook page, or you can get there through taxationsolutions.net. And then we have a link to Facebook and also our Tax Talk for You as well.
So, God, we've got so many questions here from listeners, Barry. I want to get to these.
It's good. We got about 3 hours left, don't we?
Yeah, right. Oh, I could go 3 hours with you. Ken in Oklahoma City, I really enjoy your show. What are the potential consequences of owing the IRS back taxes?
Well, I mean, the biggest one is...
Talk about scary.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to take my thunder away from the scary show here.
Yeah.
Hey, good question. I mean, the consequences is you're going to have a lien placed on you and anything you own. So if you try to sell your house and everything, the IRS is going to have a lien on all property that you own. And so when you go to sell it, they're going to get their cut. And actually any profit, if it doesn't pay off the loan, it's anything over the bank lien, they're going to get. So you won't get anything if you sell your house. They can levy your wages. And so if wherever you're working, they can send a letter to your employer. Now, how embarrassing is that going to be that you're going to be levied at your employer? And depending on the size of business, then everybody there in the business knows you were just levied by the IRS. Even though people aren't supposed to talk about it, it does get out. And then, they can levy your bank account.
Barry, do banks drop you?
Banks can drop you too. If you got bad credit, the banks can not take you. If you've got continued levies on your account to where the IRS continues to levy your bank account, you're going to be overdrawn and there are going to be fees. And you talk about embarrassing enough as it is. The IRS sends a levy to your bank. The bank pulls every single dime out of your account that's there when that levy hits to send to the IRS in about 20 days. And then to add insult to injury, the bank then hits you fees for having to follow through on that levy that the IRS sent, and you're negative in your account. So they're now asking you for money just to cover the fees that they took out and now try to pay mortgage, insurance, your car note, groceries, you name it, anything that you need. You don't have the ability to have money in your account. The IRS has now got that money. So, there are things that we do to halt the IRS and stop them. Even if you've got that certified notice of intent to levy, we have ways of stopping the IRS in their tracks. Now, if you've misled the IRS and you're the one responsible and you've been responding and not following through, there are times we can't do much because you have just absolutely blown yourself out of the water by representing yourself and not following through with what you promised you're going to do. So you kind of got to be aware of that too. There are certain times that nobody can do anything because you've already blown it and you've already made a mess. Now it's urgent to get through as fast as we can to get you into some kind of program before they start taking the money out of your account. And that we can do.
Rex in Sioux Falls, can you explain how does the IRS payment plan work?
Rex, good question. So the IRS is going to look at how much money you owe, how long it is before the statute of limitations runs out on your debt. So every debt has a statute of limitations. So it's generally 10 years from when it's filed and accepted. And then the statute of limitations can be extended if you put a CDP hearing, collection due process hearing, you file for a non-collectible status, or you file for an offer in compromise. And there's a few other items, bankruptcy and stuff like that, that will delay the CSED. So don't think, oh, hey, I filed this return in April of 2015. Now statute should be up. Well, it may have been extended by something else you may or may not have done. So we've got to look at a detailed analysis of those statute of limitations. And then the IRS will tell you this is how much that you would have to pay. Now, there's ways around it. You can actually file a 433A, and if you have a business, a 433B with it. And you can prove to the IRS that you don't have the money or the wherewithal to make the type of installment agreement they are requesting. And if you can prove the numbers on those 433s, then the IRS will take a lower installment agreement with manager approval. Now, that being said, if your numbers are way outside of national standards and stuff, you're going to have to do a lot more proving of those numbers for them to accept them as well. And if you were to go to like an offer and compromise, they're going to go straight to national standards and not allow you to have anything over and above it. So an installment agreement, we can generally get a lower payment plan based on actual numbers from what's going on in your life. But then again, the IRS is going to be looking at, when our car payment's going to be up, or when, will the mortgage be up? Can you go borrow more money on your mortgage or get a second mortgage to help pay this down? So there's a lot of things that they're going to be looking for as well to determine what should be paid and what needs to be paid. And then there's things we do, because we look at your financial position when we're doing the 433s and determine, hey, maybe if you did this over here, we can get this even lower. And the IRS won't require as much money, but you can take that money and use it for this instead. And it's like the IRS paying for it. So we just reduced your payment plan maybe by $200 or $300. Even though you're not keeping that $200 or $300, it's going something over here to benefit you. So it's kind of like the IRS paying for that, because if you didn't do this, you're going to pay it to the IRS anyway. So why not take the money and rob from the IRS and pay for something that benefits you? And so we look at every little detail to determine what's going to be the right way to do this. So there's a lot of techniques and a lot of things that you need to know and have in a toolbox like we do in our arsenal to beat the IRS at their game and use every little rule that they have to get you the best installment agreement offer, whether it's partial pay installment agreement, maybe non-collectible status, or maybe a stepped installment agreement. So there's many different things that we can do to help you solve the tax problem and get this burden off your back. But good question, Rex.
Here's Larry in Georgetown. Thank you for bringing us this great information. Your firm helped a friend of mine out, and he said you saved his life. You've seen a lot of those, haven't you, Barry? What happens if you're late with the payment arrangements to the IRS after you've made a deal with them?
So they're going to give you a chance to make up that payment. They're going to send you a letter saying you're in possible default. You need to look at what best advice is look at why you might be in default. Did you miss the payment like you're saying here? Did you just late with the payment? If you're just late, they'll generally fix it and let you move on. If you've totally missed it, sometimes you can request a waiver of one payment and they'll move on to the next and everything will be fine. If you've missed several, they're definitely defaulting you. And then you've got to go back through everything again to get you back on that payment plan. And if you continue to default, then you really have a problem, meaning you're pretty much accepting a payment plan that you can't afford and you need a better solution. Maybe you need to change some things in the finances of your life as well out there. I mean, we've had to have discussions with people, and it's sad to say some people have gambling habits and they're addicted. And they're going through money because they're gambling. And gambling is kind of easy to get involved in doing, whether it's gambling in the stock market, whether it's gambling at a casino or gambling online. And I've seen it where people are spending thousands of dollars gambling online. And, it's not an expense that the IRS allows. So, maybe, we've seen things like that or bad habits, drinking, you name it, becomes a problem and you've got to work through it. So, sometimes it's sitting down and looking at what's happening in life and how to make things work and make things better so that you can solve the tax problem and get back to living your life. We hear it all the time that, we're some people's lifesavers. They didn't know what they were going to do. We throw that, life preserver out there and, tell you to hold on and we're going to keep your head above water and we're going to do everything we can to save you from drowning in the IRS's muck and yuck and, get a solution that you can actually live with and afford. And, sometimes it's not the solution you want, but it's the one that you qualify for. And it's the one that makes the most sense. I refuse at times to put somebody in an offering compromise that I know, not just in my head, but in my heart and with every fiber of my being, that they will never, ever stay in compliance. And if you're one of those people, then, you're wasting your time and your money going into an offering compromise. Let's get you on a partial pay, lower installment agreement, or maybe even non-collectible status. And let's make your life a little bit simpler and a little bit easier and not having to work on being in compliance. Now, if you do get an offering compromise with us, then we want you to be with us during that whole term of that offer. Meaning for the next 5 years after it's accepted, we want you to be on with us for transcript monitoring, for us doing taxes so that we know that you are going to be in compliance and we can help guide you and keep you in compliance so that offer doesn't go away. Because if that offer goes away, all that money comes flooding back with penalties and interest all accruing to it. And you talk about it, something that just took the whole bottom out of your life raft. That'll do it. Non-compliance is like that huge anvil falling off the building right through the bottom of the boat and you're sunk. And, there went your offer right with it. So we don't want that to happen to you. We want you to stay in compliance, to keep that offer until that debt actually goes away, which is 5 years after it's accepted.
Julie in Shreveport, what if paying your back taxes causes undue hardship?
Well, Julie, one of the good things is that if you get set up on the right plan with the IRS, whether it's an installment agreement, partial pay installment agreement, non-collectible status or offer, you're going to be able to live with the solution that's going to be put in place. Now, it may mean you have to change some things in your life to avoid that hardship. But if your hardship is such that you should be in non-collectible status and not pay them anything, that's where we want to put you. And sometimes that is the best place for people, and let the statutes run out. But one of the things we do when you become a client, the first thing we're going to do is that tax analysis for you. And by the way, we're offering them 50% off. So call us at 877-996-6477. Again, 877-996-6477. And ask for the 50% off deal on the transcript analysis. But that's going to tell us, how much money you owe, what the statute of limitations are going to be, what tax returns have been filed, haven't been filed. It gives us, we do a complete analysis of the last 3 years returns as well, so that we know, did you get all the deductions you should have had? Did you claim all your income, all that stuff? And then we sit down with you and say, all right, let's talk about your income, expenses, fill out our worksheet, work with us on this. And then we determine, what's the solution? How are we going to be able to put this to bed so you can continue to sleep and rest at night and have the easiest road to the financial recovery that you need and you deserve, and that you best possible deal that you can get? But again, I offer free consultations, so take us up on it and call us, right here at taxationsolutions.net. It's 877-996-6477. Again, 877-996-6477. I don't give the number out enough, because I sit here and I see the scroll at the bottom and I go, the number's scrolling at the bottom. I don't need to give it out all the time. But those that are listening on the radio, you can't see the scroll.
Yeah, iHeart. Yeah, W4CY.
So, if you're listening, hey, I'm sorry. I'm going to try to be better and give it out. It's taxationsolutions.net. And the number is 877-996-6477. Give us a call. Don't wait. Don't think the IRS is, at home doing nothing with the government shutdown. Computers are still working. There's revenue officers still working. There are people that are still out there after your money to collect for the IRS, because it is considered a necessary position, especially those that are collecting money due to the government. The positions that are not necessary are those that are there to help the taxpayers file or get things corrected.
So, Barry, I cannot let you go without telling everybody about your IRS playbook.
I mean, we weren't going to skip that one.
No, cannot do that. I got someone on my right shoulder saying, don't forget about the IRS playbook. This.
Yes. I mean,
she's related to you.
Yeah, my wife, I guess she must communicate with you. She's probably sending you messages right now. Give me credit. Give me credit. No, we're not doing that anymore. That's done. I wrote, it wasn't my idea, but I wrote a thing called IRS Playbook, and you can go to irsplaybook.info, and you can get our playbook, the playbook that I've used for the last 30 plus years to get the IRS off our clients' backs for good in as little as 3 simple steps. If you go there, you can watch this. It's information packed just for people that have IRS problems. I think the only place I really talk about IRS playbook is right here on Ask the Experts. I got to do this on my talk show on Monday at Tax Talk for You.
Absolutely.
So tune in there. I'll talk probably a little bit more about it, even though we're doing the scary show. But yeah, it's irsplaybook.info. It doesn't cost you anything. Yeah, it's going to ask you to put some information in, as everybody does, but it's the playbook we use to help solve the IRS and stop the IRS from ruining your life, running your life, taking your money. And this is the stuff that we do, and we try to make it and break it down as simple and as simple as terms as possible.
For those of you who are listening on iHeart, Spreaker, Spotify, W4CY, Facebook, give them your phone number and your website, Barry.
All right, it's really simple. It's taxationsolutions.net. Again, it's taxationsolutions, that's with an S on the end, .net. So go to our page there. You can go to Facebook and find us and connect over to our page as well. The easiest thing to do and the best thing to do is pick up the phone and call us at 877-996-6477. Again, it's 877-996-6477. See this little thing right here, or even your cell phone. Pick those, and I got paper coming up here too. Pick these up, make the phone call. Get yourself some sleep this weekend by knowing that you're going to work with the best company to put a solution in place and keep the IRS off your back. That's the easiest thing to do. And
I think the most important thing, Barry, is the most trusted company, that you're going to give them the right advice.
Absolutely. I mean, we want to work with you. And remember, right now we're doing transcript analysis, basically case analysis. We go through everything with you, 50% off, once you become a client. And, when we're doing that, doesn't mean you have to stay with us to do the solution. I mean, I prefer you do, but we're going to give you the advice. And sometimes it's going to be us telling you it's simple for you to do it. Here, go do this, save yourself money. When we get done and you want to shop, hey, shop. I'm going to tell you, we're going to be the ones that you need to turn to get this done and make sure that you have the right solution in place, and not just a solution for today, but a solution for your future. And that's really what it comes down to. You want to make your wife love you? Call us at 877-996-6477. Again, she's mad. And if she's mad, the whole family is not happy. So make her happy, get a solution, call Taxation Solutions. Let us give you and your family the relief that you need in your life and the solution that's right for you to solve your tax problems. And again, it's 877-996-6477. Really simple, really easy. Free call, free consultation. Just do it now.
And don't forget Barry's show at 10 o'clock Eastern time on Mondays.
So if you tune in Monday to Ask the Experts on W4CY, just stay on and watch Tax Talk for You right after that. Because Ask the Experts is on 9 a.m. Eastern time, correct?
Yes.
And we're on right after 10 a.m. Tax Talk
right after us.
So you can have one good show and follow right into another good show. And let us help you. You get to learn more from another expert on whatever expert's going to be there with you on Monday. And then you get to come listen to me talk about scary stuff at Tax Talk for You. And if you don't want to do that, find us on Facebook, Tax Talk for You, or online at taxtalk4u.com. And again, that's Tax Talk, the number 4, letter U.com. We make it simple.
Okay, Barry, have a wonderful weekend. You're the best. I'll see you. Barry's with us twice a month. We'll see him next month with more Ask the Experts. Thanks, Barry.
Thank you, Steve-O. Everybody have a God bless and glorious weekend. And we'll see you next week.
For sure. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.